Can anyone compete with Victorinox when it comes to pocket knives? I have been on the hunt to look for competitors for a while now, and I have some things to say about it. And we're going to talk a lot about Victorinox as well in this video, so let's go ahead and get started. So let's start this video talking about Victorinox specifically. I would imagine that everyone watching this knows who Victorinox is, right? They have been making knives for over 100 years. And Swiss Army knives actually are that old. They've been around that long. And that is truly amazing to have a company exist 100 years later. But it's a whole nother thing for a company to exist, be producing better quality implements, and more of them than any other company in the world. And that's what you have when you're talking about Victorinox. They make more knives than any other company in the world. And at one point, a few years ago, they were making more knives than all other knife manufacturers in the world combined. I don't remember how many years ago that was, but that was actually a real stat. How crazy is that stat? You would think when you make those many knives that you would fall down on something, whether it was quality control, materials, innovation, something along those lines. And year on year, it feels like Victorinox kind of laughs at that and continues to improve. In fact, I have bought 30 individual models directly from Victorinox over the last 2 years. Not a single one has had any quality control issues, any material defects, any issues that I can even discuss. Not at all. They're exactly what you expect. And when I reach out to my local community of people who are also Victorinox lovers, and we have hundreds of knives to look at, it's still the case. Not a single failure, not a single issue among all of those knives. That's uncanny, if not unprecedented, right? I don't think there's another brand out there producing tools, knives, or anything that can actually match the consistency that Victorinox offers. So with that said, they must be expensive, right? No, actually that's not the case. That's what's truly amazing about Victorinox. Because of the economies of scale, they are able to produce tools that are incredibly reasonable. In fact, this Explorer, which I'm glad I waited to purchase, was less than $40 recently on Amazon. They are consistently under $50 to get access to practically the majority of their 91mm line, their 58mm line, and even in some cases their larger tools as well. Yeah. So then why am I bothering with all of these, right? What's the point? The point is that there are three categories that Victorinox has in general kind of ignored, mostly because they don't need to. There's no need for them to go into this direction. However, there seems to be an indicator that they are considering it, and I want to push them as hard as possible to do exactly that. And when I say that, what I'm talking about specifically is this multi-tool. When they came out with the Swiss Tool MX clip, myself and many others were shocked, because having them transition to one-handed locking with a pocket clip, all three of the things that we wanted from them, is a huge jump. Now, as of right now, this is the only available model, and its similar versions, that has all three of the things that normally don't show up in Swiss Army knives. And that is probably one of the biggest reasons why it is the #1 multi-tool that gets into my pocket these days. When I don't want to think about what's happening, when I don't want to carry additional bit kits, when I just want a flashlight and a multi-tool, this is what I end up putting in my pocket, because I know it doesn't have anything that will fall out. I know exactly what's inside it, and it just works every single time. So I'm going to put that back in my pocket for a minute. Let's continue with the Swiss Army knives. We are not seeing that approach being taken with the 91mm, the 110, 111mm, and so on. We have seen in recent months that they are going to discontinue the Delmont and the Evo line, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. But it is my hope that while they discontinue over 30 models of their tools, that they will consider, well, some of the innovations that we see elsewhere in other lines. And so let's talk about that for a second. The first thing we have to see in updated models is a pocket clip. Come on, guys. It's 2023. Just give us some scales with a pocket clip. Yeah, I can attach one with this. This is a Nite hip clip. It just doesn't feel right, right? I would love to see a on-brand Victorinox clip that kind of matches the one you saw on the MX clip, right? This one. I would like to see that same thing being applied, and I think everyone would be into it, for sure. There's a lot of people that like to carry knives in this way, and there's a lot of examples of it. Why not jump on that bandwagon? So this is a good example of this, and in many ways, this is one of the most competitive tools with Victorinox, except for a couple of key things. It does have a locking blade, and a one-handed one at that. So that's the other two aspects that they are not doing that much in their lineup. Where they fall down a little bit isn't on quality control. It's it has to do with weight. This thing weighs 7.1 ounces or over 202 grams. And in my opinion, you may as well, here, let me show you this. You may as well just carry the Victorinox, like like a full-on multi-tool once you get to that point. In fact, I would argue that anything over probably around 6 ounces probably should have a plier attached to it. Just from a weight perspective, you're just being inefficient. And that's kind of why I've been exploring things a little bit further. This tool is very, very good. Quality control is good. The materials are pretty good. Just a little bit heavy. Leatherman tried their own method with the T4 and the K series, and although it's not bad, they are nowhere near competing with Victorinox on price, and I think they're going to have a hard time justifying how their product is better quality control wise than Victorinox is. It does, however, have the three things that we're looking for. It has a pocket clip, it has a one-handable blade, and it has one-handed deploying and locking implements. These are things that we definitely would be worth considering, right? And I'm hoping that Victorinox will, you know, consider updating it. There's been a lot of examples of this. It hasn't swayed Victorinox, but I hope it will eventually. When I reviewed this Roxxon, I think that something like this, with the fact that it has one-handed locking implements, it's in the same price point to be competitive. It has, you know, decent but not great materials and a possibly better scissor than even Victorinox makes. I think that it's clear Victorinox is paying attention to this. My goal, and this is sort of, if you made it this far in this video, this is sort of a spoiler. I'm going to be building specific knives made of Victorinox parts that I think are so compelling that they may not be able to ignore those particular versions anymore. So if you hear this, you might catch on to what I'm going to be doing over the next month or so. Sorry, excuse me. There are some brands, though, that are doing things, I think, that complement the addition of Swiss Army knives. Example of this would be the Flex Cut line, where you have a multi-tool designed specifically for a specific task, right? In this case, we're talking about carving wood. This tool is specifically designed for that. It's made of carbon steel blades. It has small, precise tools that have locks, and yeah, these will always be reasonable inclusions in any discussion because Victorinox doesn't really compete with them. These are more generalist and these are specialist. Now, the other reason why I've been exploring these actually has to do with pliers. I have fallen in love with the addition of carrying pliers separately, and I think a lot of this spawned from a video that I watched about 1.5 years ago. I will put a link to it and show you a picture right here. It got me thinking about what it would be to assemble a plier-based multi-tool in pieces rather than all in one. And there are some really, really good pliers. And I think that has culminated finally in the ultimate plier, this one here. I have been looking for something that genuinely competes with a Leatherman plier head that has the cutters and the grabbers and all of that. And I think I finally found it in the USA-made SnapOn 4-inch slip joint plier. This thing is an absolute monster. In fact, I actually was able to save the day when we were changing out brakes on a friend's vehicle recently, and this was just narrow enough that it was able to fit on that nut, but I was able to also apply enough pressure like this to hold it while the other nut was being loosened, so breaking free. Had I not had this exact tool, we would not have been able to make that repair. It just simply, I know for a fact none of my Victorinox or Leathermans would have had the ability to do that had I been carrying them. So I think this is an area that I might end up exploring a lot further and doing a lot more mods and doing a lot more design work, because I think that Victorinox needs to pay attention and start jumping in. And with what they've shown with this tool, I think they absolutely can and are willing to start considering it. I want to know from you guys, what do you prefer? Would you rather carry an all-in-one, or would you rather have a pairing of pliers and this, so that on some days where you don't need a plier, you can put that aside, and then vice versa? I'm beginning to think that a combination of tools may end up being better. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. As always, thank you again for your time, and we'll talk again soon.